Hi everyone, I'm Meenakshi and I welcome you all to Tathastu and welcome to the Environment and Ecology series, wherein we are discussing the important concepts of environment and we have completed some topics as well. Today in this video, we will be discussing about the greenhouse gases. So it might appear a simple topic, but it is very important for your UPSC examination. There are many questions which have been asked from this particular topic. There are different dimensions in which they go and ask questions from this particular topic, which is about the greenhouse gases. So in this video, we will be learning about these different greenhouse gases and their potential contribution in this global warming. But before that, these are the courses which are offered by Tathastu-ICS for all of you. There is MSLV, it specifically targets your mains examination. Then there is NCERT module, you can register for it. Then there is PSLV and it will specifically target your prelims examination and it will be launching very soon. And then there is philosophy optional. You can inquire about these courses on this contact number, as well as you can visit this address, or for further inquiries or further details you can visit the Tathastu's website. And I hope you have got the information about the courses. Now let's start with the lecture, which is about the greenhouse gases. So we'll be learning learning about their different greenhouse gases. Like, first of all, we will be understanding that what are greenhouse gases. First of all, it is important, it is necessary to understand the definition of the greenhouse gases. So greenhouse gases, if we have to understand in one simple line or a simple or in simple word or in simple sentence, then this greenhouse gas refers to gases that absorb and emit. So they do this both work, they absorb as well as emit the infrared radiation. So these are the gases, the greenhouse gases are those gases, they absorb some part of it, they emit some part of it, of what? Infrared radiation. So these are our greenhouse gases who has the potential to absorb as well as emit the infrared radiation. These radiations basically keeps the atmosphere, maintains this. Maintains this heat of the atmosphere, right? So these are the gases which absorb and emit them and actually maintains a balance. Now, these infrared radiation or the thermal energy produced by the Earth's surface is absorbed and then they are radiated by them. By whom? Greenhouse gases. And these greenhouse gases cause the atmosphere to retain heat. So otherwise the Earth would have been very cold without these gases and it would have been difficult to survive. So what they do, they absorb some part of it and then what they do, they emit the remaining part. So they cause the atmosphere to retain heat so that the Earth is not freezing and so that the life is possible on Earth, and it contributes to global warming also. So sometimes when there are certain aspect, when it exits the limits, it escapes the limit, it contributes to global warming as well. So let's summarize it, that greenhouse gases are basically they absorb and emit these infrared radiation and they are produced by Earth's surface, absorbed and re-radiated, and they cause the atmosphere to retain this heat, which also causes this global warming. So this is the definition of greenhouse gases. Now there are different greenhouse gases. Some of them are water vapor, carbon dioxide, methane and nitrous oxide, so and ozone as well. So these are some of the prominent greenhouse gases and they contribute to climate change. How they are contributing? They are leading to this global warming. They are warming the Earth's surface. So they are contributing towards this climate change. And if we talk about India particularly in releasing these greenhouse gases, so it emits over 2.6 billion tons of carbon dioxide equivalent annually. And if we talk about our position, our ranking in emitting carbon dioxide, so we are at the 3rd position. We rank behind, number 1 is China, then US in terms of global greenhouse gas emissions. So this is our position and this is what are greenhouse gases. These are some of the prominent greenhouse gases. We will be discussing about these prominent gases in detail. So let's start from water vapor first. So you all know, I have said this, that it is a greenhouse gas. So what is water vapor? It is basically water in gaseous form. So what is water vapor? It is water in gaseous form, and it is Earth's most abundant greenhouse gas. So whenever we talk, see, whenever we have a discussion or there are general things, so we say that because of the burning of fossil fuels, carbon dioxide is being released, and this carbon dioxide is causing this global warming. It is causing sudden climate changes. It is leading to increase the temperature of the earth. So, right. So we may find this picture that this carbon dioxide is the most abundant in atmosphere, but it is not so. It is water vapor, which is Earth's most abundant greenhouse gas. And one interesting thing about this is that the human beings, who are responsible for release of many greenhouse gases, are not directly responsible for emitting enough of this gas, which is water vapor, and to change its concentration in the atmosphere. So human beings, human beings are not directly responsible, they are indirectly responsible. Let's see how. So through this burning of fossil fuels, there's enough carbon dioxide which is released, right? Let's talk about CO2. Then methane, it is released through these rice or paddy fields. See, one of the most common anthropogenic source for methane is these paddy fields. This question have been asked in your UPSC examination as well. So let's assume this. So humans are not directly responsible for this emission of this water vapor, but they are indirectly responsible. See how. So these are two greenhouse gases, right? Carbon dioxide and methane. These are our two greenhouse gases. So when they are released in atmosphere, so when they are released, these greenhouse gases, they are released, then when there is this increased carbon dioxide concentration, then the global air temperature that increases, and you know, warmer air have this more capacity to hold the moisture, and at that time precipitation can't take place. You know, this air, this water vapor is not released, it is held in the air itself. So there is increased water vapor in atmosphere, which increase the greenhouse warming from water vapor. So this is how water vapor cycle is. It is very simple. It is the human beings can't release it directly, but what they do, there are a lot of emissions which through this carbon dioxide gas, then methane gas, and it leads to this global air temperature. The temperature of the air increases, and warm air have this capacity to hold the moisture, more capacity to hold this moisture, and that moisture is not released in the form of precipitation. It leads to increased water vapor in atmosphere, which ultimately lead to increased this greenhouse gas emission through this water vapor cycle. So this is how it contributes towards the greenhouse or global warming. And unlike carbon dioxide, water vapor moves quickly through the atmosphere. So there is this lifetime, see how much time these gases can survive in the atmosphere. So if we talk about, it is very variable, it depends. So if we talk about water vapor, it can stay up to a very short period of time, whereas if we will talk about, when we will discuss about carbon dioxide can stay for longer periods, more than 200 years, up to 1000 years. So this is the time duration until which they can stay in the atmosphere and then keep contributing towards this global warming. So unlike CO2, this water vapor moves quickly through atmosphere. How it moves, we have seen, and even when we were in school, we have studied about this evaporation and condensation process. So this water vapor is released through this evaporation and condensation process. So it can't stay for a longer time in the atmosphere and keep contributing. So the duration actually depends on this process, which is evaporation and condensation. So this was about the water vapor and how it contributes indirectly to this global warming or greenhouse gas effect. Now, what is the significance of water vapor? If we have to talk about significance, why it is important? So the hydrological cycle or our water cycle and the thermal radiation balance, they are dependent on water vapor. So this is one significance. Then it transports this latent heat and contributes to absorption and emission in a variety of ways. It contributes the variety of groups or variety of ways include this evaporation and the condensation process, and it is crucial part of our atmospheric thermodynamics. How? Because it if condensed into cloud which reflect and absorb the solar radiation, and hence they have a direct impact on this heat balance. So it manages, first of all, it is this important component of our hydrological cycle. Then it maintains the heat of the atmosphere, which is important, because otherwise, as I said in the beginning only, the planet would have been really cold and it would have been difficult to survive on this planet. So this is how the water vapor functions, and we have seen how the humans contribute indirectly. Right, directly humans are not responsible for this emission, but indirectly they are responsible. Now, some recent findings, some recent data, which is always important for our UPSC examination, always relevant for our examination. So there's this report which is released by Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, or we can call it shortly as IPCC. So there's one report which is released by, this is 6th assessment report. There have been 5 assessment report before that. Here we are talking about the 6th assessment report. So there's this assessment report which has been released by the IPCC, and according to this report, if we talk about the water vapor, the total atmospheric water vapor is increasing by 1 to 2% per decade. So you know, we have this balance. We need certain things in certain quantity, and when that quantity increases, then there are side effects of it. So according to this report, this water vapor is increasing by 1 to 2% per decade. Now if we talk about the thermodynamics law, the amount of water vapor in atmosphere, it can increase by about 7% for every degree Celsius which is increased in Earth's atmospheric temperature. So if we talk about, if the Earth's temperature keep increasing, like if this global warming persists, so according to this thermodynamic law, the water vapor can increase by about 7 degree for every degree Celsius. So if there is increase of 1 degree Celsius, then the water vapor amount can increase up to 7 degrees. So these are some recent findings, and this was about the water vapor gas. Now let's move towards the next gas, which is very common, and we hear it on daily basis, which is carbon dioxide. We have also discussed it extensively in this our biogeochemical cycles as well. So if we talk about carbon dioxide, it is the primary greenhouse gas which is emitted by human activity. So mainly, they are natural sources as well, but there are more anthropogenic sources which are releasing carbon dioxide, because see, the natural sources, there are certain gases which have their natural sources, and then there are certain things which are done by human beings. But when the thing, if you need it in this number, suppose just a hypothetical situation, if you need it in this number and it is going up to 1000, it is increasing, then it will have side effect, it will have bad effects. So this is the primary greenhouse gases which is being contributed by human activity, and predominantly the human activity is the burning of fossil fuels on larger scale, and it is contributing to the release of the carbon dioxide gas. Now one more special thing important thing about this gas is that it is transparent. When these solar radiations come, it is transparent to them, but when they go out in the atmosphere, it is opaque to them, to existing terrestrial radiation. That is why it cannot emit really fast. So it is transparent to incoming solar radiation and opaque to the outgoing one. It has higher concentration. Okay, so if we talk about where does it exist in higher concentration, so it exists in higher concentration near the surface of the earth, because it is denser than air, so it just stays there. It is more heavier than air, denser than air, and this is the reason it exists there, or it persists there in higher concentration. And we have seen that it is opaque when we talk about emitting or sending it back. So it is transparent in receiving and opaque in going back, so it takes time. And then it since it is denser than air, so it keeps this the concentration keeps increasing near the surface of the earth, and this process cause an increase in global temperature. So if it will keep increasing, because the sending back process is opaque, it is not transparent, and so since that, because of that reason, it keeps increasing near the earth's surface, and because of that process it leads to this global temperature increase, which set off a complicated process, and that complicated process is global warming, which we are, or global climate change, which we are experiencing right now. There are certain things which are changing, which are not natural. So this is about carbon dioxide, how it contributes. Now, what are the sources? See, I have said that there are both natural as well as anthropogenic, or the source activities which are done by the human. So if we talk about the natural sources, sorry. So we have discussed about these sources in the carbon cycle as well. So there are certain natural sources, and it is required, these sources are required for ongoing this flow of this carbon cycle. Carbon cycle is very important. We have seen it in the nutrient cycling process, right? So these natural sources are required. So what are the natural sources through which it is present in our atmosphere? Decomposition, respiration, and through these ocean releases. So these are some of the natural resources. But if we talk about human activity or the anthropogenic resources, then they are the use of fossil fuels to produce electricity or vehicles. Now, use of fossil fuels for transportation such as gasoline, petrol or diesel, and one of the most common causes is this industrial emission. So these are the sources through which carbon is emitted, and when it is emitted in higher quantity, it keeps concentrating on near the surface of the earth, and the surface of the earth, it keeps warming, and it eventually leads to global warming. So this was about the carbon dioxide. Now what can be the impact? See, what can be the impact and consequences of the carbon dioxide emission? Rise of global temperature. One of the most important things, that global temperatures are rising. It is considered the primary greenhouse gas, and if we talk about which is the most abundant, so the most abundant one is the water vapor. So this is the primary greenhouse gas which is causing this rise in global temperature, and because of that rise we are experiencing climate change and different things. So there, if we talk about global temperatures, then it can lead to various other things like shrinking of change of water supplies, right? Then we can experience geographical changes. Because see, glaciers are melting. There's changes of weather pattern. We experience rainfall when we are not expecting it. So the weather patterns are also changes in food supplies. Yes, it will definitely affect our agriculture, the water supply, because when this water supply will get affected, it will ultimately affect our agriculture, right? If the water cycle is affected, all these things are interlinked, right? When we studied about ecosystem, we studied that everyone is dependent on each other. The biotic factors and the abiotic factors, we are linked, we are interdependent, we need each other for our survival. So when the water supplies will shrink, it will lead to this impact on the agricultural sources. Then there is acid rain which is caused, and then we have increased sea level. So these are some of the changes which can be caused by this CO2 emissions. Now, as I said, there are multiple questions which have been asked from this topic. So this question was asked in your prelims examination. Let's see the question and try to solve it. The increasing amount of carbon dioxide. So the question is related to carbon dioxide. So the increasing amount of carbon dioxide in air is slowly raising the temperature of the atmosphere. So we have seen it in this carbon dioxide emission, that the increasing amount is leading to the increase in temperature because it absorbs. So they have asked the reason why. What does it absorb? So these are the four options which have been given. Let's see the options. The water vapor of the air and retains any heat. We have discussed about water vapor differently. And then we have second option, the UV part of solar radiation. The option number C is all the solar radiation, and option number D, the infrared part of the solar radiation, which basically consists of heat. It have this capacity to heat the atmosphere. We have seen that it is transparent to receiving this and then opaque to sending it out. So this the correct answer is option D, the infrared part of the solar radiation. We have seen it. So this is how you solve a question, and I hope this you have understood that this topic is important. There are many questions which are being asked from this topic. This is just one question so that you can understand what kind of question they can ask, and we will be discussing about the other greenhouse gases in different lecture, next lecture. And I hope you have understood the concept that what are the greenhouse gases and how they contribute towards this potential global warming. And I hope you have found the session helpful as well, and if you found it helpful, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.